recognize this. And it goes like this. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity. Those are very important words. Those are words to begin with. We the people. So this we're going to do 3 times, and each time I want you to say it louder. I'm going to say, who are we? And you're going to say, we the people. Got it? Got it. Who are we?
We the people.
Who are we?
We the people.
Who are we?
We the people.
That's why we need to send Michelle Wu to City Hall. Because she understands, that's right, give it up. Give it up for Michelle. She understands our needs. She walks in our shoes. She lives in our communities. Her kids go to our public schools. It's crucially important that we have an advocate that understands what it is that we do. And I want to take a moment. There's one of my colleagues in government who's right back here that I want you to give a big applause to, and that would be City Councilor Lydia Edwards! Now let me say this in my waning few moments here. We the people have sent an incredible advocate down to DC to do our business. An incredible advocate to do our business. She also understands the plight of the no income, low income, moderate income, middle income, and upper income. She can talk to everybody very well, very easily, and break down what she's saying so that it's totally understandable by anyone that she is talking to. I had the great pleasure back in 2012 of working on her candidate when she was working on her campaign when she was a candidate for Senate. And that's how I met Michelle. Michelle, the former mayor of Lawrence, Danny Rivera, and Roger Lau, and I'm sure a lot of you know Roger Lau. Give it up for Roger Lau. Roger Lau is the man. The 4 of us, along with scores of other people, a bunch of which are in the audience today, worked mightily for this woman, worked mightily for this neighbor, worked mightily for this leader. And she is the champion that we need in DC to bring home the resources that we need. Let her hear you loud and clear. Let the people uptown hear you loud and clear. Let the people downtown hear you loud and clear. Let's get a rousing round of applause for the United States Senator Elizabeth Warren!
Train. I am so happy to be here with you today. I am happy to be here with you today because we got 3 more days. 3 more days. 3 more days until we set Boston on a path to the future. 3 more days until we make our voices heard. And 3 more days until Michelle Wu takes the next step to become the mayor of the great city of Boston. Now, I'm here with you tonight because I believe in Michelle. And I believe in Michelle because I know Michelle. I've known Michelle for 10 years now. I knew her when she sat in my class on the first day of law school, sat in the front row, and I called on her, and it was hard. That's my job. But I watched her, And I watched how hard, how much discipline she has, that she hung in there. I've known Michelle since I ran for Senate, and Michelle jumped up and said, if you're gonna run for Senate, I'm gonna help you do it. And that's what she did. I've known Michelle since she worked for Mayor Menino, and she said, you know, we can do more for the people of Boston. You ever eat at a food truck? Stop and say thank you, Michelle, because she helped make it happen. I've known Michelle since she showed the courage to step up and run for city council and made it. And I've known Michelle since she ran for president of city council and became the first woman of color to be city council president in Boston. I've known Michelle as a partner. I've known Michelle to jump in the car with me, and the two of us get a chance to talk about childcare and how we can change lives here in Boston if we make the investment in childcare, and Michelle is in that fight. I've known Michelle as a partner when we talk about housing, how we get more federal money in here so that we can make housing affordable, so there really is room for a working class, for a middle class, for poor people, for everyone in Boston. And I've known Michelle since the day she called me. And you gotta remember, it takes a lot of courage to do this. She said, I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna try this. I have an idea. I've got a vision for what we can do for Boston, and I'm gonna put my hat in the ring. I know we've got a popular incumbent mayor, but I'm gonna do this because it's the fight I belong in. And I said, I'm with you, Michelle. So it's true. I love Michelle. She's family. She's family, as our wonderful sheriff pointed out. We're all family in this one. Let's hear it again for Steve Tompkins. The man who gets it done. So, I just want to say three things about Michelle and why it is I love her so much. Michelle has good values. You want good values in a leader. Michelle has good plans to enact those values. I love a woman with a plan. But all good values and all good plans won't get you anywhere if you're not willing to get in the fight. I love Michelle because she is a fighter. So, I get to do what I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that is introduce the spectacular, the courageous, the persistent woman who is going to be the next mayor of Boston. Give it up for Michelle Wu.
Well, hello everyone. It's great to see you here today. 好高兴看到大家. Buenas tardes a todos. I couldn't be more honored to be here today with so many friends, activists, community members, leaders, family. Thank you so much to Tanya, a fellow traveler on the journey of being a working mom in City Hall and such a leader in East Boston and throughout the entire city. Thank you to my sister in service, Councilor Lita Edwards, who's here, always has got our back. Thank you, Sheriff Tompkins, who was the chair of my very first city council campaign, 2013. and someone who has been a mentor, a friend, and a professor in more ways than one, our fighter in DC, Senator Elizabeth Warren. Thank you. It is incredibly meaningful to me, 3 days from the election, to be here with you all in this spot, in front of the Chinatown Gate, in the neighborhood that first welcomed and rooted me in Boston. Back then, a homesick college kid, missing my family and the traditions and the food and culture that I grew up with, finding a little glimpse of familiarity and home and family right here in this city. A college kid whose eyes lit up because I realized if I could just save up $1, I could get one of the round tea tokens that could get me anywhere around so many of the neighborhoods in the city of Boston. I never imagined then that one day I would get to stand here with my professor, Elizabeth Warren, that one day this would be the neighborhood whose connection, the healthcare, the culturally appropriate health center that saved my mom's life in helping to tackle her mental health and mental illness, stabilize our family, that this neighborhood would be a place where one day I would open my campaign office for the Boston City Council. But the truth is that this neighborhood, this community, has been a welcoming, anchoring home to families like mine for over a century. This is a place where immigrants came to find a foothold, separated from their families by the Chinese Exclusion Act, finding community in ways that they could, working long hours into the night to try to send the resources back to support their loved ones. This is a community that tackled impossible odds. We are standing just blocks away from the offices, the headquarters of New England Joint Board Unite Here. Proud to have their support in this fight. They are the legacy connected to the garment workers, the immigrant women, people of color who work together not only to stitch together the clothes that so many wore to create jobs, but who stitch together our communities and cultures. They are the legacy of what it meant to come together, save every penny that they had, and purchase a building where others could organize and fight for what was right for generations to come after them. If there was ever a moment where we needed to tap into that spirit, that legacy of organizing, of fighting, of standing up to tackle impossible odds, it is right now. We are facing an ongoing public health crisis. We are facing a climate crisis standing in the spot where the waters from the ocean will reach to the Chinatown Gate if we take no action. We are standing here in a community facing tremendous pressure from displacement as housing prices continue to creep up. We are standing in the community that experiences the worst air pollution anywhere in the state because of transportation decisions that bypass our communities to set up highways, ringing communities of color, spewing pollution into the air. But we know what's been done here before. We know where Boston has been before. This is a city, this is a community that stands up to fight. And in 8 years on the City Council, a decade in City Hall, we have seen just the power we have to make that change at the local level. We have faced impossible odds time and again, built coalitions, and showed that when we truly decide to confront our challenges head on, anything can happen in this city. When we realized that workers at the City of Boston didn't have any protections for paid parental leave, we organized and put Boston on the map nationally as one of the first cities in the country to get this done. when corporations were coming in, purchasing entire buildings, kicking out all the tenants, driving up rents so that we were turning into a city without residents, we took action even though they said not to. We fought Airbnb. We put proposals on the table. We organized. And even when they took us to court after our legislation passed, we won and set a national precedent for every other city to organize. We fought for city dollars to go to communities of color, for our contracting to reflect the goals and the values, the priorities of our city. We're still fighting that fight, and we will ensure that every penny of our resources goes to building healthier, stronger, more equitable communities here. We fought for the idea that public transportation should be a public good, reliable, accessible, and free to all. So we have had a bit of a taste of what's possible when this city comes together, when we organize, and when we lean in through city government. But I'll tell you, we still have a lot more to do. Now's the moment for us to come together. 3 days to knock on every door because we're gonna fight for housing justice. Now's the moment to knock on doors so that we deliver a Green New Deal in Boston. Fair free transportation, universal pre-K and childcare for families. And finally ensuring that Boston's government truly is a platform for activism across all our communities. We are 3 days away, but for my team and for so many here, this has already been a long journey for us. We got in this race a year ago. We got in this race with months to go because we believed in a very specific type of campaign that Boston needed. Not one to fly in, ask for votes, and move on, but the chance to engage deeply with every community, to put the big issues on the table and the big solutions that are possible, to build and organize and knock on doors and bring communities into the conversation with us. We would not be here today without the hard work, the heart, and the love that you all have put into this campaign. And so more than anything else, I just want to say, I am grateful. I am grateful down to my toes for all of your work. Now I just want to end with a little asterisk on that because we got 3 days to go. We're feeling good, but I just want to remind everyone, we've seen some nice headlines, but I don't believe any numbers until the polls close on Tuesday night. We're gonna need every vote. How many have already voted early by mail or early voted? Give yourself a hand clap. How many have already reached out to all your family and friends and said, remember Tuesday, September 14th? We need every person here to come to the polls because this is not just about making sure we move on in the election. This is about building the foundation and the movement to deliver change in office in City Hall. And so I want us to leave it all out there in the next 3 days. I will be there with you. We are going neighborhood by neighborhood, community by community, language by language, to ensure that we are meeting people where they're at, with the hopes, the dreams of what is possible for this city, with what we know Boston can do if we are all at the table. So I want to say I love you all. Thank you so much for what you're doing. We're going to get this done on Tuesday.